these later in the tour when we have a better view. Let's focus over here on our left, the Nuveen Center. Remember when I talked about the Trump building and I said contextualism, complementing its surroundings? The Nuveen Center does it, built in 1983, by the bend. That bend is because this is where the river bends and goes south, all right? Also notice the colors of the glass to pick up the greens of the water. If you saw the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, that's where his dad worked, okay? Anyway, now, 2019, here comes River Point. Look at this curved building in itself. Notice the arch at the bottom, the arch at the top. I don't know if that really has much to do with the structure. Some people say it looks like a McDonald's apple pie box. Who knows? What I think's cool about it, notice, notice that white wall at the bottom. That's very important. That's hiding the railroad that's underneath it. They built that above the active railroad ways, and those circular, those circles that you see there are actually ventilation systems that are sucking the exhaust out from underneath. Gibson's Italian over there, that's that little low-rise building. Very good stuff. If you're on an expense account or something, I really recommend you go there. Okay. The Fulton House lies right before us. That's this reddish colored building. Now this is 1898 and the oldest building on the tour today. When it was built as an icebox, a refrigerator essentially, okay? All around here were a lot of stockyards, and so they would slaughter the meat and they'd need to store it until it could be shipped on, put on barges and trains to be shipped away. They would bring down big blocks of ice and put them inside there, and that would keep the building cold. It was around 1981, the building shut down, all right, and they had to let it thaw out. It took 3 months for that building to thaw, and that's because the walls are 4 feet thick and they were full of horsehair and cork. That's how they insulated it. Mr. Harry Weiss, that's why so many triangular shapes and circles for the portholes, okay? Also though, when he designed and built this building, he did something totally different in 1988. He faced it towards the river. People used to just put the backs of the building to the way, well the water sloshes the opposite way and pulls it back into place. Pretty cool. All right, now, if you're the kind of people that like to get off the beaten path, over here on our right is a neighborhood called the West Loop. Okay, the West Loop is very up and coming. Lots of great restaurants and food and some shops and stuff. Good nightlife and very, very local. Check it out. Also, the world headquarters of the McDonald's Corporation is over there. It's built on the property that Oprah Winfrey used to have her studio on. Her studios used to be there. Anyway, check out the McDonald's restaurant if you get over there that's in that building, because they have food from all over the world. So they might have like a chicken sandwich you can only get in Great Britain or something they only sell in Japan, that kind of thing. Over here on our left, folks, I just live on the back side of this building. Anyway, this is our newest all-glass building, the Bank of America building, completed in 2020. Here's what I like about this building. First off, the glass color scheme that was used is really cool because there are some days this building is all but invisible just because of the way it blends into the sky and the sunlight hits it. Hey, brother. Now notice what they had to do to achieve the 30-foot setback. They did it. They created the river walk, set back 30 feet. They went up 3 floors. Then they came back over the top of the river walk using those piers to support the building. Okay? See that Bank of America branch there? It does not take cash. What's wrong with a bank that won't take cash? Just nuts. Anyway, I will. But anyways, they built that for $800 million and sold it for $1.2 billion last year. $300 million return in short order. How about over here on our right, folks? We're going to have an opportunity right now to put some styles of architecture in a chronological order. This is the 2 North Riverside building. You all know this is Art Deco because it's just like the Merchandise Mart. Remember, Indiana limestone setback windows, recessed roof. Anyway, this was all the Roaring 20s. This is when the United States was really booming. It was the jazz age, like I said, Roaring 20s. We were very prosperous. Everything was going really, really well. It was right after the Spanish flu of 1918, as a matter of fact. What happened at the end of 1929? The stock market crashed, and we went into the Great Depression. Well, because of the Great Depression, there was no need for big buildings, so it all came to a halt. The last large building completed was the Empire State Building in 1930. It wasn't until the mid-19 and late 1950s, when the country had come out of World War II, we were beginning to prosper again, we were building our infrastructure, And we needed large buildings once again. And this is what we came up with. This is called black box modernism. We refer to these as Gateway Plaza 1 and 2. Our very own Ludwig Mies van der Rohe, a German immigrant, came here as an architect, and he came up with this design. Note anyway, the princess, because of that young lady standing on top of the structure. Now, as we pass under the bridge, coming up straight ahead of us, a little bit off the right, you see this hexagon-shaped building with the pink Texas granite on it, 311 South Wacker. I want you to look to the top and see those glass structures up there. We refer to this building as the Queen because of those glass structures. Those are lights. They're probably the most prominent lights on the night skyline. When that building was first completed and they turned those lights on with the 1500 bulbs, it was so bright it messed up the migration of the birds. Yeah, okay, so what a mess. But here's why you came out. You're testing the fate of the rain because you wanted to see the king of them all. Look at that tall black structure there. The one and only, the world famous, the Sears Tower. Sears Tower completed in 1973 at 1,451 feet tall. That is from its lowest entry threshold to its rooftop. World's tallest building when completed, still the tallest building in the city of Chicago. This building, some little fun facts about it. Notice I said rooftop. Well, when I talked about the Trump Tower being the second tallest building, it gets a lot of its height from its spire. If you have a spire like One World Trade Center in New York does, all of that counts into the height of the building. Those white structures on top of the Sears Tower are antennas. They do not count. Little fun fact. Highest occupied floor of the Sears Tower is actually 86 feet higher than the highest occupied floor of the One World Trade Center in New York. So anyway, let's talk about this building. It's actually 9 buildings bundled together, and that's its stabilization method. It's called bundling. So you take these towers at various heights. See how they're various heights? They surround the main tower. So when the building blows and sways, which it can sway 16 inches. Can you imagine? Wow. Go 6 inches on any given day. But anyway, on the 103rd floor of this building, he's going to come back into view here in just a moment. On the 103rd floor is the sky deck. The sky deck of the Sears Tower, up there on a clear day, you can see Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Wisconsin. In recent years, they did a really cool addition, and you're going to see it when the building comes back into view on this side of the building. You're going to see 5 glass boxes, okay? Those are called the ledge. They're retractable boxes. They pull them in to watch the glasses and they push them back out 4 feet. That allows you to step out onto an 1.5-inch piece of glass, thick, 1.5 inch thick, and look down 1,300 feet. It's a thrill, folks. Give it a try. There you go. Now you can see them. Okay. You want a little bob tip? Here's a bob tip, okay? If you just want to go and get a great view from a high floor, go to the John Hancock Building 96 floor signature room and have a drink. These are great targets to be converted into housing, apartments and condominiums because of the window structure and them being narrow. If you take some big square building, how are you going to light the middle of it? You want to live in the middle of it. So anyway, just a little fun fact about it. 111 West Wacker here. Okay, this building was supposed to be twice as tall as it is. Started about around 2004. They got that far up and they stopped because the housing market crashed. In the recession, they didn't, they just put a halt on it. Sat as a concrete tomb. Finished it out, made it concierge, high-end concierge apartment building. So that means they do everything for you. I mean, they'll put your groceries away, hang your dry cleaning in the closet, that kind of stuff. Very expensive. Here's the rest of the story. A friend of mine, she leased in there for like $2,300 a month for a junior 1-bedroom. They're like, you're crazy. She moved out a year later because it was full of college kids. Why? Because those New York college kids are like, wait a minute, I can get concierge for $3,000 a month. I'm in. So again, it's all relative. Okay? Hey, look at the bridge. Look at the sailboats go through it. Isn't that cool? That happens on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Okay? Yeah, just take a look. It's a great little video on it. Tiny Tap, that's a fun place to hang out. That brown building you're looking at there, that's it's called brutalism. It's the only example of it here on the river. It was late 60s, early 70s. You'll see it a lot in municipal buildings, city buildings, banks, university campuses. They use it. Very functional. Just got away with a busload of money. Okay. Some people call this the old post office from 1921. I don't know why. Well, because when it was